Hello
And welcome back to
WTF, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Today is Friday.
And I am Aubin, the author of The Second Nature of Indigo.
I'm Mariella May, Ella here, and I'm currently writing this fantasy duology. Today is a Friday, so we are going to be doing a book tea. In here
where
are
we take
books that we enjoyed reading very much.
On
card catalog cards cut up. So we're going to be randomly pulling out one of these and talking about it. If we go through it quickly, we'll do 2 or 3 even. We've done 2 book teas like this before.
So the books we've done are Book Thief, Beginning After the End,
and The Second
Nature of Indigo, which is my book.
Yeah, we'll have all of those up there.
Yep.
Pick a card, any card.
Yeah. There you go.
Alrighty, so this is our lovely choice.
No.
An orphan title. That's what it says on there.
Let's see what it is. There's one that we can't remember we put in here.
Mm-hmm.
I got most of the titles put into my phone, but I can't remember all of them. What is it? Dracula. Interesting.
I was like,
all right.
Dracula?
Yeah, my D is a little bit wonky.
Looks like a P. Dracula. That
Dracula.
is very interesting.
That is interesting.
So
because you know what's funny? I've been reading Hunting Prince Dracula, which is very different from Dracula, the novel by Bram Stoker.
Yeah, so I read Dracula for
School. Yeah, so
middle
did I.
school literature. So it's been a bit since I've read it.
Yeah, same.
I remember really enjoying it. I remember because I had just come from
Poirot?
No, I had come from Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh,
I was like, oh
compared,
my gosh,
compared to Monte
lovely.
Cristo, Dracula's amazing.
Because I do not. I mean, Count of Monte Cristo, I'm sure has a great place in history, but it is long and a bit tedious.
It's a 50-hour long book.
Yeah, so I had just come from Count of Monte Cristo, so even though there was like kind of a lot, it was kind of complicated in ways, I was like, oh, this is so easy compared to Count of Monte Cristo. So I found it very fun and enjoyable.
Yeah.
I really liked the writing style. How it was very visual and very indistinct almost. Like everything seemed like a mystery.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I like how it opens with, I like how the POV shifts, but also the type of writing shifts with the POV. So if you've never read Dracula, I believe it opens with
The
journal entries.
Oh, does it?
His journal entries. And then it's somebody else reading his journal, and then it's omniscient narrator, I think, and then it's the reaction of someone else in letters to his journals, and then it's really creative the way the POV and story changes throughout.
Yeah, everyone has a very distinctive voice, and every place has a very distinctive atmosphere.
Yes,
that was something I really enjoyed. Everything was very.
The castle was very different from
the seaside place.
Yes, I forgot about the seaside.
That's like where so much happens.
I just remember the characters, the character journey mostly.
I most remembered just how visual the writing style was and how it felt like I was there all the time, which was really fun.
Yeah. I loved how people complain about how, I don't know, I disagree with this opinion pretty strongly, but they're like, in literature it was mostly written by men and they didn't write women super well. I disagree with this opinion, but anyway, I think this is especially untrue in Dracula because Mina is a really great character who has a lot of she's a POV who is strong and interesting, and she's very active. She takes a very active role in the plot, and she's
you're never
interesting. She's I would say that's maybe more the other girl. What's her name? Lena?
But that's kind of her.
Yeah, she's not.
It's her vibe.
She's not supposed to be like Mina.
Yeah, I really enjoyed how everyone was written. Everyone was written very distinctly and very consistent with themselves.
Another thing I find interesting, just in general, is you know the American in Dracula, Quincy? He's like, I love seeing the perspectives of non-American writers on Americans in books. Like, particularly in this book, in Dracula, the American is just such an interesting, upbeat, happy guy. And
like a happy-go-lucky, just kind of...
I wouldn't say happy-go-lucky. I would say happy-go-helpful. He's just like, yeah, let's... And then the reader of the audiobook we were listening to gave him a super southern drawl. So he was just so fun to listen to.
Yeah.
And he's very respectful, which...
Yeah, I always find it very
fun.
interesting in literature when it's like, you know, different people groups in there.
Yeah.
So, especially as an American reading it by someone who's not American, that's always really fun.
Wait, was Bram American? I did a paper on Bram, and then Mom asked me, I'm homeschooled, or was homeschooled before I graduated, and Mom wanted me to annotate all of Dracula.
Wow.
I opted to do something else eventually, and then got my request approved, but... So I started doing a bunch of research on Dracula and like the stuff around Dracula, but I think he was English, and he was, if I can remember correctly, please correct me in the comments.
Yeah. We know.
I believe he was a playwright. Like, he did a lot of play work, so I feel like the drama that he learned to the drama he learned to get across through plays is very apparent also, in Dracula.
I think also because he had such a, like, you know, physical visual medium that he was working in, he could see his story really
that's
well,
probably
and then
true.
illustrate it really well. So, yeah, I think that's really fun.
Okay, so I'd also like to say that, you know, you hear a lot about Dracula and you hear a lot about Frankenstein, even though it's Frankenstein's monster. And then you actually read the books, and it's like...
Well, you're not what...
Not exactly what, like, modern mainstream media makes you out to be. Go ahead.
Just something else I found interesting is that he has a lot of similar things to fairies. Like, he can't enter places without being invited, and, like, just how he interacts. It's, like, very interesting to get that, like, you know, genuine folklore-ness of it, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because I love anything that has to do with folklore or mythology or fantasy stuff. So that's really fun. Yeah. I think I remember reading a clip of Dracula, like an excerpt for some writing school thing, before I ever read Dracula the book. And I remember being caught off guard by how much I liked it and how much it created a vibe within such a small excerpt of the scene. Yeah. And then I got to kind of re-listen to it a year or two later when my dad started listening to it, and he would sometimes play it in the car when we were driving, and then I got to hear it again. I will say the end is very anticlimactic. It's not... That is interesting. If he's a playwright, you'd think he'd have like a very crescendo.
Crescendo, but that doesn't really happen.
Yeah, and like maybe he was just like, this has been going on for long enough.
But you know who would be super fun to play, if it was a play? Van Helsing.
That is
the Doctor.
Yes. Yeah.
He would be awesome.
I think Dracula would make a great play.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all the aspects of it. It usually has, like, wherever it's set is in pretty enclosed area. Yeah. And they don't really, like, I don't know. It just always feels... Yeah. It kind of, now that you suggested that, it kind of feels like a stage thing. So, yeah. I really liked Dracula.
Yeah, me too.
It's one of my favorite books that I read for literature.
Yeah. The other would probably be... Sherlock. Oh, we did put Sherlock in.
We did put Sherlock in.
I forgot. For a second, I thought we hadn't put Sherlock in.
Did we put Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
We did put Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We might need to, if we do, we might need to read back over this a little bit. Jekyll and Hyde.
I remember it. I loved it.
I might need to go back over Jekyll and Hyde.
One of my favorite literature books.
So we really like Dracula.
Yeah, we like a lot of literature. Yeah. Generally. So, out of...
rating.
1 out of 10?
I'd say 7.5. I
was trying to say 1 to 10 scale. Not 1 out of 10. That's kind of Monte Cristo.
Hey!
I did not like Count of Monte Cristo.
I didn't love it.
Well, you can't do 7. You did
0.5.
I'll do 8.
Our rule is that we can't do 7. We can do 6.5 or 7.5, but no 7.
7 is too neutral.
It's too neutral.
I would say it's... Yeah, I think 7.5 is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like... It's
the
good.
end is really...
It's good, and I would listen to it again.
Oh, absolutely. And I would definitely recommend it to, like,
kids.
Or not general kids, but, like, if I
Hey.
had kids and I was assigning them books straight, I'd be like, definitely read Dracula.
Yeah, Dracula, I think, is a great middle school literature book.
Yeah, and it's...
And it holds
It's
up for
exciting.
any age. Yeah, it's like, it's cool for any age. Alrighty, I think we're gonna do another guy. Ooh, whoa. That's all this kind of...
So, what was this one? Children and orphan?
Orphan and...
Orphan and children were Dracula.
Yeah. Oh, it's F War.
Hey, that's kind of true. F War. Frenemies! Oh my gosh, it's so funny that F War is for Frenemies. All right, guys.
Frenemies is another book that we read for school that
It
we
is
actually
a
really
non-fiction-ish
enjoyed.
book.
Okay, so what Frenemies' premise is
Mm-hmm.
is literal frenemies that shape the world. I think that's the full title.
That
of
is
it.
the... What's it called?
Full
Title and subtitle?
Mm-hmm. So what Frenemies does is it takes two rivals and tells their story. So the first book, it has a two paleontologists and talking about how we got like a bunch of weird random dinosaurs that don't actually exist just because they were in this race to have more dinosaur than the other.
Who are the other ones? It's Frenemies? Is it the chariot teams of Roman times?
I think that's in the
Second one?
It's Burr and
Hamilton?
Yeah.
Is
And
it...
then-
No,
it's
the
the
first
Queens.
one.
It's
The
the
Queens. Mary Queen of Scots and Queen Anne? Hold on.
Mary Queen of
Can
Scots.
I just look it up?
And also, it is... I think it's only as an audiobook. I don't know if it's a physical book, but it's read by a cast. So
Yeah, it's fun
It's
as an
basically an
audiobook.
audio play. It's so fun. And it's actually really, really cool and historical.
Yeah.
So... Oh, Puma and Adidas.
Yeah, Puma and Adidas were
That was
the other
another
ones.
one. And it's like,
Frenemies.
the
Wait,
people who shaped...
sorry, that's a lit RPG. Here we go. Rivals. Oh, it's called Rivals, not Frenemies. Rivals, Frenemies who changed the world. Yeah, it's narrated by a cast and Copor Marsh. Those are the two paleontologists. Hamilton or Burr. Queen Elizabeth and Mary Queen of Scots, not Anne. Anne was older,
Yeah, no, I
I
was
think.
like-
Adidas or Puma. And then the second book is Rivals 2.
Rivals
More frenemies who changed the world.
Oh, and it's the boxers.
Oh, yes. Fraser and Ali.
Mm-hmm.
Fraser and Ali. Edison and Tesla.
Yes, that one is really,
Edison
really
and Tesla, because we all know exactly who our favorite is.
Tesla.
We're a Tesla family. How
Not the car,
sports fans
but-
nearly toppled the Roman Empire. Chanel and Schiaparelli.
Oh, that one's fun.
Yes,
That one
Chanel
is-
and Schiaparelli is interesting.
If you like history
and fashion.
well, if you like history and fun stories, and if you like podcasts, I guess, because that's kind of what it feels like.
A little bit, yeah, but it
Rivals?
also feels like a novel, like clips of a
It
fun novel.
It's so good. Just, there's also more. There are pirates
and spies. Separate books. They each have different stories.
The pirates one is so fascinating.
Yeah.
I
still don't think I finished it.
You still haven't finished it?
I'm sorry.
They're really... Anyway, all the books there are so cool. So
Yeah.
it's really like just...
Oh, and
highly
also read them in order, because
he references
the books in order, and the jokes are really funny
if you
understand the context.
Yeah.
And also just weird how history overlaps sometimes, because we learn these stories separately, but they were all happening around the same time for some of them. And it's like, oh my gosh, can't fathom like Elsa Schiaparelli and Adidas and Puma being around the same time-ish and throwing each other under the bus for World War II. It's just so interesting.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
All the stories in it are fascinating.
Yeah, very
and
well picked. I can't think of...
It's just all excellent. I would rate it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I was going to say 8 or 9, yeah.
Yeah, because it's just so...
It's very fun. And they're not super long.
No.
So I think they're each 4 or 5. I mean, I could just check.
Yeah.
Wow. It's 2 hours and 14 minutes, the second book. That is not long.
Yeah, and 2 hours and 50 minutes. So they're really, really
This one was
concise.
3 hours. So the first book is 3 hours, second book is 2 hours, and
Pirates is...
finished.
We already listened to it on Audible.
3 hours and 11 minutes, and Spies. Oh, we also did Vikings.
Oh, we haven't listened to that one.
3.5 hours. So not super long audiobooks, but highly worth it.
Yeah, really, really cool.
So definitely, if you want to explore history in a super fun, fairly, like for age range.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
The Schiaparelli story.
There are some things
that probably make it.
I mean, also
Not
the Queens.
elementary. Also the Queens.
Yeah, I'd say again, it's like probably
Middle school. Yeah,
So-
super interesting.
I can't believe that it's actually called Rivals.
I know how we put frenemies on
Frenemies.
here, but it's rivals.
Rivals.
Frenemies who change the world, or rivals too. More frenemies that change the world.
Yeah, all of them.
So,
Great.
and then the Spies and Vikings and
Well, we haven't listened
those.
to Vikings.
Well, we haven't listened to Vikings, but Spies and Pirates
Pirates.
aren't rivals anymore.
Yeah.
They're more just stories of people.
Yeah, it's like
throughout
biographies,
those.
but
Yeah.
like audio play biographies.
Yes,
Which is so fun.
Which is super
So
fun.
if that's your vibe, highly,
that.
highly suggest.
And it's very, very funny. Like a lot of jokes,
It's
a
very
lot of
funny.
satire humor,
But also, it's like uses the humor to make the history stick.
more memorable
Like
all the time.
one of the paleontologists messing up on this huge thing was turned into a really funny joke, and
Yeah.
it was kind of a joke
It
back then
was.
because it was like, man, this guy just failed. So it
Yeah.
sticks. I'm not going to spoil it. 'cause
Yeah, it's a
very
funny
fun.
joke. So,
So yeah, highly,
Yeah.
highly suggest.
so those were our 2 books from
Yeah,
Book
book tea.
Book Tea this
This Friday.
Friday, but we have more, and we'll have
Another book tea
another
next
Book Tea
week.
next Friday.
So we do writing advice. We do
Mhm.
talking about ourselves and what it's like to be authors.
Yeah.
And we do book tea. So if you want to stick around and hear more from us, we would absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And we'll be back on Wednesday for
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. WTF. So,
Bye, guys.